Everyone thinks DanDaDan is just this crazy supernatural comedy about a nerd and a girl fighting monsters. But every single supernatural entity in this series represents human trauma. Let me prove it by exposing the biggest psychological secret most viewers never noticed. It starts when Okarun meets Momo at school after she defends him from bullies. On the surface, it's a meet-cute between two outcasts who believe in different supernatural things. But here's the deeper layer. Okarun believes in aliens because he's been isolated his whole life, desperately wanting to believe there's intelligent life somewhere that might understand him. Momo believes in ghosts because her grandmother taught her that the dead deserve respect, something living people rarely gave her. They make this bet about ghosts versus aliens. But what's really happening is two traumatized kids testing whether the universe cares about them at all. Momo goes to Nagi Hospital and gets abducted by Serpo aliens who want to harvest her reproductive organs. Okarun visits a tunnel and meets the Turbo Granny, who curses him and steals his golden balls. But here's what you missed. Both encounters are metaphors for violation and loss of innocence. The first fight erupts when Turbo Granny possesses Okarun and attacks the aliens while Momo awakens psychokinesis powers. Everyone sees cool supernatural battles, but the hidden story is about two kids finding strength through shared trauma. Momo's psychic abilities don't come from training. They activate during a life-threatening violation, which is how real trauma responses work. But it gets deeper. Okarun loses his dong and stays possessed as the Flatwoods monster attacks them at Momo's house. This alien creates a barrier, trapping them inside. Classic abuse isolation tactics. They defeat it by working together, but Okarun's still possessed and tries to devour Momo. The hidden meaning? Trauma makes victims dangerous to the people they love most. Granny Psycho arrives and easily defeats possessed Okarun, showing that experience and proper support can handle what seems impossible to victims. But here's the twist everyone missed. Psycho isn't just a spirit medium, she's a trauma counselor using supernatural metaphors. Every exorcism technique she uses mirrors real therapeutic intervention. The real battle begins when they face Turbo Granny, combined with an earthbound crab spirit. They challenge her to a game of tag, but she cheats, just like how trauma doesn't play fair. The chase through the tunnel represents confronting the source of pain, and they win by luring her into Psycho's prepared healing space outside the city. When the fusion monster gets destroyed, Okarun gets his dong back, symbolic restoration of what trauma took. But here's where the hidden story gets brilliant. Back at school, Okarun immediately loses his balls again because healing isn't linear. Setbacks are normal. Enter Ira, who finds his golden balls and thinks it makes her chosen to save the world. Everyone sees typical mean girl behavior, but Ira's actually displaying classic symptoms of someone desperate for purpose after feeling powerless. Ira attacks Momo, thinking she's a demon, which triggers acrobatic Silky, and this is where the series reveals its true genius. Silky isn't just a random spirit, she's the manifestation of maternal trauma. Her backstory shows a mother who lost everything, became desperate, and died trying to save her child. She wants Ira as a replacement daughter because grief can twist love into obsession. The fight between Ira and Silky looks like supernatural combat, but it's actually therapy through metaphor. Ira dies during the battle but comes back when Silky sacrifices herself. This represents how understanding someone's pain can heal both victim and perpetrator. When Ira calls Silky mother and the spirit finds peace, it shows how empathy breaks cycles of trauma. Ira awakens acrobatic abilities through this emotional connection, proving the series' hidden rule. Power comes from processing pain, not avoiding it. But when she kisses Okarun in gratitude, Momo gets furious because trauma survivors often struggle with intimacy and trust. Right during their fight, the school invasion begins with Serpo aliens seeking Okarun's yokai powers. But here's what you missed. The aliens represent systematic exploitation, always targeting the vulnerable for experimentation. The underwater empty space battle isn't just cool visuals, it's a metaphor for how trauma survivors feel, like they're drowning in a reality others can't see. The boxing alien becomes friends with them afterward, showing how former enemies can become allies when you understand their motivations. Then Gigi arrives as Momo's childhood friend, and everyone sees a love triangle drama. But Gigi represents Momo's past before trauma. He's innocent, cheerful, everything she used to be. The anatomical model Taro appears with a gold ball, leading to this chase that seems random but actually represents how trauma fragments identity. Taro can disassemble himself to escape, classic dissociation behavior. His relationship with Hannah shows how broken people can still find love. Season 2 explodes with the Keto family, who've been sacrificing humans to a giant worm for 200 years. Everyone sees village horror, but this represents generational trauma, how communities can normalize abuse when it's been happening long enough. The Tsuchino worm affects people's brains, forcing self-harm, which is literally how trauma works psychologically. But here's the series' masterpiece. Gigi gets possessed by Evil Eye, this spirit that feeds on psychological pain and manipulation. Unlike Turbo Granny's chaotic possession, Evil Eye is calculating and systematic. It uses Gigi's memories against his friends because that's exactly how psychological abuse operates, weaponizing intimacy. The Evil Eye vs. Okarun battles aren't just fights, they're therapy sessions. Round 1 shows how trauma makes you fight the people you love. Round 2 shows Okarun choosing to help both Gigi and the spirit find peace. When he makes a deal for weekly fights on Tuesdays, it's representing how healing requires ongoing maintenance, not one-time fixes. The season finale brings Kenta's mecha battle against Vamola's kaiju suit. Everyone sees robot versus monster action, but the hidden story is about how people create protective shells when they're hurt. Vamola emerges from the kaiju suit and kisses Okarun. She's another trauma survivor seeking connection. Here's what makes this hidden story brilliant. Every supernatural power in DanDaDan comes from emotional awakening, not training. Momo's psychokinesis activates during violation. Aira's abilities come from empathizing with maternal trauma. Okarun's strength grows when protecting others. The series is teaching that healing happens through connection, not isolation. The real genius is how it disguises therapy as supernatural comedy. Turbo Granny goes from terrifying antagonist to reluctant mentor. That's how trauma memories can become sources of strength. Acrobatic Silky transforms from monsters to tragic mother figures. That's understanding replacing fear. Even Evil Eye gets sympathy when you see its tortured nature. Every fight has emotional stakes beyond winning or losing. The series constantly shows that monsters aren't born evil. They're created by human cruelty and neglect. The supernatural elements are metaphors for psychological states that feel impossible to explain literally. So when people say DanDaDan is just crazy supernatural comedy, they're missing the point entirely. It's actually one of the most sophisticated explorations of trauma, healing, and human connection ever disguised as monster battles. The aliens and ghosts aren't the real story. The real story is how broken people can heal each other through understanding and acceptance. That's why DanDaDan resonates so deeply with viewers. Underneath all the chaos and comedy, it's telling the most human story possible, that no one is beyond saving, that understanding someone's pain can heal both of you, and that the strongest power isn't supernatural abilities, it's the courage to stay connected to people even when it hurts. So which hidden detail blew your mind the most? Let me know in the comments down below. Thanks for watching, and watch this video next.